Meghan Markle, to me, has lost all sense of reality about life. She needs someone to give her some perspective. Are you aware that when you preach about equality from your $11 million California mansion, it doesn't sit very well? People still want to believe her. I see right through it.
Meghan Markle, right? Not going to go into the issues of that. I'm really not personally that interested in it. But
No.
what I did want to ask you is, I saw when you spoke at Oxford, you were talking about Jeremy Clarkson, getting in a fist fight with him, going down the pub, making up Arthur. And there you said, I do like to fall out with someone and then make up again.
Yeah.
What would it take for you and Meghan Markle to make up?
If she did an interview like this for me, it'd be very interesting. You know, it's like Meghan Markle, to me, has lost all sense of reality about life. She needs to sit with someone like me, not an Oprah Winfrey enabling interview, fueling your victimhood. She needs someone to give her some perspective. I talked earlier about perspective, where I say, are you aware that when you preach to us about climate change and the environment and carbon footprint from Elton John's private plane, it doesn't sit very well? Are you aware that when you tweet, as they did on the day of her $500,000 baby shower in New York with all her celebrity friends, that when you tweet from your Twitter account about poverty, it doesn't sit very well? Are you aware that when you preach about equality from your $11 million California mansion, it doesn't sit very well? Are you aware that when you rip our beloved prince away from the bosom of his family and take him to America and woke him into submission, it doesn't sit very well with the British people? Are you aware that when you make very serious allegations of racism and callous disregard for suicidal thoughts, you actually have to produce some evidence to support it? Otherwise, everyone at the palace and the royal family gets smeared by association with those comments. Is she aware of any of those things? I don't know, but I'd love to ask those questions. She didn't get asked them by Oprah. Oprah just went, what? 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 Repeatedly. Just believed everything she said. We now know at least 17 statements that Meghan Markle made in that interview were false. So am I still supposed to believe her? Is it a job-ending moment if I don't believe her? So I think she's a piece of work. I think I was one of many people that she used along her path up the slippery ladder. That's fine. I don't care. I only met her once. But the way she treated me on a very small level is not dissimilar to the way she disowned her father, the guy that brought her up on his own for 6-7 years. He got disowned. He lives 70 miles away. She never sees him. He's never met his son-in-law. I mean, it's crazy stuff, right? She had one member of her entire family at the wedding. Where her family should have been on either side was Oprah Winfrey and George Clooney. I was like, do me a favor. So I see right through it. People still want to believe her. That's fine. People love Meghan Markle, think what's happened to Harry's great. That's fine too. I just don't agree. And I'm afraid you have to respect my right to have that opinion. I'm getting about as bored with it as you are, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So I don't want to be defined by Meghan Markle, even though she was personally responsible for me losing a job I loved. She was the one who wrote to the boss of ITV on the Monday night that led to me leaving the next day. Talking about we're both women and we're both mothers. You got to get rid of him. Do people think that's right? Is it right that a person like Meghan Markle from her California mansion should leave her, a British television broadcaster, out of a job he's enjoying, that viewers are enjoying him doing in that way? I don't think so. Is it right that my right to free speech was so impinged that I had to leave a job if I didn't apologize for disbelieving someone who said false things? I don't think so. I thought the whole thing was ridiculous, as did Ofcom, the government regulator, months later, who ruled in my favor. So I thought the whole thing, frankly, was preposterous. But in answer to your original question, let's do an interview, Meghan. Let me put all these questions to you and answer some difficult questions, because I don't wish them harm. I don't wish them to be unhappy, but I hate what they've done between them to the royal family and the monarchy. I think it's been incredibly damaging.
Do you ever get concerned that, on a real human level, that some of the words you say for Meghan or Sam Smith or on Good Morning Britain, or even around, I know, is it Tessa, who was the front cover of the magazine?
Yeah, the Cosmo cover girl.
Cosmo cover. Has it ever crossed your mind that the words or tweets might actually hurt someone.
Do you think it's crossed? Has it crossed Meghan Markle's mind what she did to me?
You know, like on the suicide, Meghan said,
I didn't cost her a job.
You know, she was saying she was suicidal. Again, I don't want to go back to the point of mental health, but did you ever think, is this going to hurt this person on a...
She said that 2 people at the palace, when she told them she had suicidal thoughts, said she couldn't get treatment because it would be damaging to the brand.
Yeah.
I don't believe that. And no evidence has been brought forward to support it. Those are extremely incendiary allegations. In my view, weaponizing mental health and suicide to portray yourself as a victim. If Meghan Markle has proof that 2 senior members of the royal household refused to let her get help for suicidal thoughts, I want to know who they were, when they said it, and they shouldn't have those jobs. But we are now a year and a bit later, no evidence. Similarly with her racism claims. One of them we knew immediately was untrue. It's completely untrue that her son was prevented from being a prince because of his skin colour. Demonstrably untrue, factually wrong. And the other claim was that a member of the royal family expressed concern about Archie's skin colour. Who was it and what did they say and what was the context in which they said it? Because the damage that she caused by calling the royal family a bunch of racists is incalculable, as we saw on the recent tour of the Caribbean with William and Kate. So I don't think it's harsh to want some evidence to support such incendiary claims. And when it comes to, do I use tough language? Yes, sometimes I think I do. But I don't regret doing that because I think they've been using pretty despicable language themselves.
Have you ever regretted anything you've said in terms of...
Sometimes you think, sometimes, look, I encourage all my kids to be free thinkers. And sometimes they'll be on me. You know, like, Dad, you went too far. You shouldn't say that. And we'll have a spirited debate about it. And sometimes they change my mind about stuff.
Tell me one example.
I knew you'd ask that. I'm trying to think. It has happened. Yeah. It has happened. I mean, they'll be saying now, my middle son, Stanley, is an actor and photographer. He loves your podcast.
He's my favourite son.
Yeah, exactly. He's on mine, all right? I have all my sons are the same. And my daughter. But he would say now, Dad, stop talking about Meghan Markle.
Yeah.
Just don't bother. Don't. And he's right. There comes a point. What's the point?
Yeah.
The problem is they make themselves newsworthy all the time. My job is to talk about the news. And obviously I have a vested interest in the Markle debacle because it cost me my job. So I still feel that I have a sort of involvement in that story. But he would certainly be saying, now, Dad, move on to other stuff. You know, just do something else in this interview that's more interesting than Meghan bloody Markle. And he's right, actually. So that would be an example. I've had that conversation with him and my other sons. But we argue, we have a WhatsApp group, me and my sons. If people read that, they'd laugh because they hammer me, my kids, about all sorts of stuff. Sometimes we agree. A lot of the time we don't agree. And we have really vociferous arguments. But then we all go and have dinner and have fun together. And that's the way it should be. I want my kids to be independent-minded. I want them to challenge me. I want to challenge them. And sometimes it gets really heated.
If you love the Diary of a CEO brand and you watch this channel, please do me a huge favour. Become part of the 15% of the viewers on this channel that have hit the subscribe button. It helps us tremendously, and the bigger the channel gets, the bigger the guests.